Interestingly, there was a day I went to church, and one of the choir members was wanted us to finish rehearsal, even though we didn't know the song well, because she needed to get shea butter for her daughter. And I remember I told her that rather than embarrassing myself tomorrow in service, I'm going to bring shea butter to you. I think 2 weeks after that, she came and she said that was the best shea butter she has seen in Lagos. And she went ahead to tell every other woman in the church that if you need shea butter, come and meet DBC.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to the Adventures Podcast. Another exciting episode is here, and I am your host, Kunle Olufemi. It's my pleasure to bring you this exciting episode. As you know, on Adventures, we seek to bring you the stories of courage and entrepreneurial insight, right? Around the brands and the businesses that you see around you every day. We believe by telling their stories or having them to share their stories that they are able to, share with you their, secret, some of the things that worked for them and some of the, pitfalls that, they couldn't avoid. And by so doing, you are able to learn from their mistakes and hopefully you're able to arrive at entrepreneurial success faster than they did, right? That is the reason we do all that we do. And we hope and pray that in this new episode, you will find, a lot of inspiration. Today, I have an exciting guest with me in the studio, right? By the person of Mrs. Adebisi Odeleye, fondly called Debisi, right? Fondly called Debisi, right? And I'll bring her on in just a minute. But Debisi is the founder and the CEO of More Organics, right? More Organics is a Nigerian skincare brand founded in 2016. It's rooted in gratitude and commitment to safe, natural beauty. The brand name More is derived from the Yoruba word for gratitude, and its ethos centers on using sustainable African ingredients. What started as a DIY project with just 500 naira worth of shea butter evolved into a thriving enterprise with a diverse product line made from plant oil, fruit peels, and butters. More Organics now operates across Africa, emphasizing family-friendly, toxin-free skincare, and has, of course, been fortunate to receive some support from globally renowned and recognized organizations. It's my pleasure to introduce to you today Mrs. Adebisi Odeleye. Welcome on board, Debisi.
Thank you very much. Good morning.
Like I said, to you before we came live or before we came on board, it's a pleasure to have you on board, right? And we really appreciate you coming to tell Nigerians your stories, and of course, a lot of people in diaspora also who will be listening and watching this at some point, right? We are excited about what you do, and we believe that a lot of people will pull a lot of inspiration from it, right? So, the way we start on Adventures is, just basically, hearing from you um, what you do, right? The scale of what you do, just to give a little bit of perspective, and even more importantly, and I say this jokingly, right? You never can tell. Some of your customers may be on my timeline, right? So take this as as your unpaid advert, all right? On the stables of adventure. So I will allow you to do the introduction, and then we will go from there.
Thank you very much, and thank you so much for having me. My name is Adebisi Odeleye. I'm the founder of Morganics. It's a sustainable sourced beauty brand. Like you said, our ethos is centered around gratitude and, of course, empowering women at the bottom of the value chain. Most importantly, um, in 2014, that was where the story actually started from. 2014, I was pregnant for my first son, Momoreolua. Um, and I have a skin concern called xerotis cutis that basically bleeds during a matan, and it became really worse when I got pregnant and I couldn't use any chemical based or toilet soap. And so I was introduced to African shea butter officially by my mother in law. The interesting thing is, whenever I go visiting my grandparents, I would always use shea butter to massage my grandfather's body, and that's what they basically use. But I just feel that it's very boring. But I love massaging their body with it, but not me. And so when I was pregnant, I didn't have any option because Xerotis Cortis was really, really having a time on my skin. And so shea butter gave me a little bit of relief. And before you knew what was happening, 2 weeks after using it, my skin improved drastically. I wasn't having bleeding skin anymore. Um, Interestingly, there was a day I went to church and one of the choir members was wanted us to finish rehearsal, even though we didn't know the song well, because she needed to get shea butter for her daughter. And I remember I told her that rather than embarrassing myself tomorrow in service, I'm going to bring shea butter to you. So the next day, which was Sunday, I told her, just bait for your child. Don't worry, I'll cream her body by myself. I took it upon myself. I took some of the shea butter that I had, and I creamed our daughter's body, and I gave her a little chunk out of what I had as well. And interestingly, I think 2 weeks after that, she came and she said that was the best shea butter she has seen in Lagos. And she went ahead to tell every other woman in the church that if you need shea butter, come and meet DBC. I mean, I wasn't selling shea butter, so I had to call my mother-in-law. I told her that, please, oh grandma, I need shea butter, 500 naira shea butter bites, and when next you're coming to Lagos, bring it along with you. So with that, I made 1,000, I made 2,000, 2,000. I made 4,000 because I wasn't doing anything. I was just, as they are giving me in that nylon, I'm just selling it out just like that. And so that was how the business started. And when I made 4,000, I added 1,000 to it and I gave her 5,000, and then I made 10,000. And at that point, I wasn't doing anything basically. And it happened that one of those days in church, it was on a Sunday. The sun was very wicked that day. At the end of the service, the shea butter had melted in the car. So it was at that point I felt, okay, what can we do now? Let's think of putting them in jars. Let's think of branding them. And I just looked around. My younger brother was living with us at that time, and then he was working with KPMG as brand, I think brand consultant, or it was in the branding department. At that point I thought of it that, come, you're in the same house with someone that is in branding and you've not branded this business. And so we sat down that Sunday evening, decided on the name. He designed the labels and we started putting it in a jar. And of course, at that time we started putting cost into it, and that was how the business started. Presently we've moved from shea butter to over 24 products. We work with different women across Nigeria and Africa in sourcing our raw materials, because we are very particular about the value chain. So we work with different women from Oshun, Oyo, even as far as Zaria, and Ogun State, and different, and even Mina, Niger State. I think presently we do about 10 states sourcing our raw materials, and beyond just even the 24 products that we have, we've been able to export to over 11 countries. And I mean, we are growing. So that's like the summary of what we do at More Organics.
Wow. Wow. I mean, looking at where it started from, I think it is super inspiring to hear this, right? Something that started as a pain point, and then somebody just without knowing put it in a position where you had to kind of give them some to use, and then it kind of just snowballed from that point, right? Because she went about talking to everybody, like one woman I recall. She went about talking to everybody and say, see what she has done for me, and it just went on and on and on like that. Now, a few questions popping up in my head, but if let me just try and calm myself down and say that, how many states do you have operations now, right? How do you go to market? And if you want to look at your customer base, what do you think, like how many people do you think you serve today?
Okay, so let's switch the question. I don't
Yeah.
want to look at it from the point of customer base. I also don't want to look
Mm.
at it from the point of revenue, because
Okay.
interestingly, we had our audited reports
Mm.
recently, and I'm proud of how far we've come. But beyond that, let's look at it from the point of how many women do we empower. Presently, along our value chain, we empower over 500 women.
Wow.
Yes.
When you say empower, they say what exactly do you mean?
So empower in directly sourcing from them. Um,
Okay.
we are sure that these women are able to send their children to school. We are sure that they are able to afford a decent life and a source of livelihood. A case in point I would always share is Yashewa. Yashewa is our black soap seller. I had a meeting with her. I met her physically for the first time, I think, in 2016. And between then and now, she has comfortably sent her children. Two of our children, I think, are graduates. Aside from that, she has also built a house. So if your supplier has built a house, it seems you've done something, And beyond that community in Osun State, we also have women in Oyo State that we work with. Few years down the line, we went to give back to teach them best production practices, and for the first time, we also hosted a pitch in Yoruba language because I mean these women cannot speak English as much as we do. So what we did was that we encouraged them to talk about what they do, their value chain and their pain points. And we realized that one of the challenges that they have is access to equipment. So we provided equipment for them that is helping them increase their production capacity and standardize production. So I would like to look at what we are doing more from the impact side, as much as money is very important, than the profit side. So those are
No,
two instances of the empowerment that we've done.
I understand that a lot, and I really appreciate you, taking that lens. I remember, I remember one of my professors, teaching us about the triple bottom line, right? So basically saying it's not just about the profit, it's not just about the people, it's also about the planet and all of that. But you're not just looking at profit, you're also looking at the impact you're making on the people, and particularly the more vulnerable members of the society, right? You're empowering them. Not just doing what maybe what will be expected of you as a customer, right? You're going over and above, right, to kind of empower them to do better businesses. And I'm sure they are not exclusive to you, right? Because they have other people they supply to. Is that correct?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Wow.
Absolutely.
Wow, that's really cool. That's really cool. Well done, man. As we say,
Thank you.
well done, man. Um, Now, I have a question I want to, that kind of popped up in my head when in the course of explaining how you do some of the things you do or when it started, right? You said at some point you had some inventory in the car, right? And the sun was, I know sun in Lagos can be extraordinary once in a while. And then a lot of the products you had in car kind of melted off, right? And you probably lost money from just that single occurrence. Like, can you put like a number to that roughly? How much inventory you had? How much did you have to kind of write off in terms of inventory loss?
When we talk about inventory loss, see, on this journey of entrepreneurship, there are lots of inventory
I
loss.
can
But
imagine.
at the end of the day, one of the things we've learned to do is to standardize our processes. So I'll give an
Mm,
instance, the one you asked for, and I'll give you an extra instance of inventory
mm,
loss. So the first one, I think that day we had about 7 kg of shea butter back in those days. And this is in 2015, 2016. Shea butter kg was still going for about 20 um 1,002 per kg, so about 7, maybe like 14,000 naira, because at the end of the day you also bring um what the people want at that time. I don't know if you understand the quantity that is ordered for. It's not like you'll be moving inventory all around, just the quantity that people ordered for. I remembered, and so that was the amount that was lost at that time. But that same thing, if you transfer it today, a kg of shea butter is going for, I think, about 20,000 naira. So 20,000 times 7 kg, that's about 140,000. So that's about $100. But there was one instance that I won't even forget at all. It was when the business hit about 100,000 naira. Now, we started from 500 naira, and it was just so exciting seeing the money multiply. And when we had 100K on our hand. It felt like, oh my God, we are making plenty money in this business. And so I remembered one of our family friends was into printing. I told him I wanted to print my labels, and he goes, oh, DBC, the more the merrier, the more you print, the cheaper the cost. Instead of printing one sticker for about 250 naira, if you print volume, you're going to print it about 20 naira. And of course, as a business person, who doesn't want volume, who doesn't want MOQ? And so, for whatever reason, he convinced me to invest 100K, the whole 100K into printing so that, we'll be able to have volume and MOQs. And as a newbie in business, I felt, okay, that's fine. We are moving fine. At that point in time, we've started supplying a number of supermarkets. We decided to print. Unfortunately, we don't have a system in place that checks what we do. So there was typographical error on the print. We didn't have our names and address on the print. And all of these things, we didn't even pay attention to it until the print came out. And I was like, okay, so how do we navigate this? There were typos, there was no address. How do people reach out to us? How do men it was not funny. So everything, the whole 100K went down the drain. At that point, we decided that before any printing is done, aside from the fact that we are printing on papers to see to ensure that double checking it, we now have some people that also the only thing they do is just to read through our prints to ensure that there are no mistakes, and then we don't print 1,000 units for a new product. The first thing we print, it doesn't matter if the printer say that the MOQ is too small. The maximum we print is 20, especially for new products, to ensure that everything ticks the box before we now go and print like the volume.
Mm. And I think that that makes absolute sense. You've learned by the things you suffered, right? So
In the hard way.
so sorry to hear about that. Yeah, I can relate with that story. I can relate with that story. Now, I told you earlier when we started that you know I wanted to give you like an unpaid advert, right? And I know that our viewership is still growing, right? So, but take it, with love from hers. Now, you mentioned that you have 24 products, right? Now, can you talk about a few of them? And if people want to buy you today, where can they find you?
Okay, thank you very much. So, apart from the shea butter that started, we now created, because we realized that some people, especially those in the diaspora, sometimes find it a little bit hard using the shea butter during winter. So, we created the body butters. So we have the luminous body butter, we have the succulent body butters. They are called the Body Shop of Africa because they're extremely soft, they are easily spreadable, and they have good fragrances and essential oils in them. And then we have the African black soap. Now, the African black soap, the unique thing about our African black soap is that it is pure African black soap. Um, and I say this with my full chest because sometimes, especially the bar soap was created purely from African black soap. After going for training for 3 years and doing R&D for 3 years, we eventually came up with the design for the bar. Not so we have the paste and then we have the bar. The bar because it's easy to carry around. The cost of production makes sense. Instead of importing some of our jars from China for the paste, we have everything being produced in Nigeria. And then we created the equipment as well that we use. We designed and created the equipment that we use in creating the African black soap bar as well in house. So the African black soap, it has shea butter in it. We have body oils, infusing different things that can enrich the African skin and skins in general, infusing our oils in Africa like the shea oil, the baobab oil, the moringa oil, a little bit of avocado oil and all of those things to deeply moisturize the skin. And then, of course, we infuse essential oils as well, like lavender oil. It was we have the relaxed body oil that has lavender essential oil, created for those in Lagos and busy cities like Lagos, New York, London, because it is always, they are always on the go, and sometimes you're stressed out. The relaxed body oil just helps you to calm down. And then we have the soothed body oil that has frankincense oil, because we want you to feel what Jesus Christ felt, the three wise men came to give him gifts. It helps you to concentrate, and it just helps you to be at peace. And then we have the beard oil for the beard gangs. We have lip balm, we have lip gloss, we have facial serum for helping people with acne and dark spots and hyperpigmentation. We have our body butters as well for those with eczema and psoriasis. So those are some of the things that we have. All our products, if you can hear us, hear what I'm saying, is deeply rooted in profiling solution for different kind of skin concerns, and also infusing the culture and the vibe of people that are the target audience of each of the products.
Mm. Thanks a lot for sharing that. And where can people find this today if they need to make an order? Where can they order some of this?
So we are online. We're on www.moreorganics.com. We are also
Okay.
our Instagram, More Organics, MWRE, then Organics. You would see
Okay.
us there. If you enter into our DM, we are there. If you reach out to us, on our website, we are there as well.
And you ship globally.
Yes, we ship globally. This year we've shipped to 5 countries. The
Mm.
UK, the US, Canada, Algeria, and
Mm.
Namibia. Oh, and Uganda, before I forgot that. Yeah.
Wow.
Yes.
Well, there you have it, people. Right? You've heard everything the products can do for you. I'm not even going to make an attempt at trying to trying to repeat all of that. I'm going to, blow it up, right? But you know where to find them, right? I encourage you to please check them out and see. Do yourself some good. All right. So back to business. Back to business. Now, Debussy, I know one thing is to kind of, you came up with a product, right? It was a pain point. Somebody recommended it to you. It worked. You gave it to a friend. It worked for her. And she went about talking to other people, right? Maybe a handful of people, maybe 50, maybe 100, right? Now, that does not necessarily translate into a viable business concept, right? Because you can still do all of that. You'll see a handful of people that will be able to use the product or want to use the product, but that doesn't mean it's worth your time, is what your effort, so to say, right? So it's solving some problem, but is it something that we can scale, so to say? My question to you is, how did you navigate that turn, or how did you manage that transition from just providing this for a couple of people that had need for it, to really thinking it through to say that, what, it looks like this is it, right? Because full time now, this is what you do, and it's become even bigger. You're empowering people, you're shipping to all over the place, right? At some point you made the decision to say, it looks like we're going to tell we're going to kind of, rail both here. We're going to just sit down here and build this up because there is so much potential. How did that happen?
Okay. Thank you very much. So, um, I got married. Let me give you the backstory. So I got married in 2013, and one of the things my husband and I decided was that the first 5 years. So my husband was like, babes, I need you to calm down. The first 5 years, can we have children? And then after 5 years, you just focus on building um, your career. So I read estate management. He also read estate management. And we already have a second generation estate management estate firm that we are supposed to be managing together. And so the first 5 years was when, it was in the pregnancy in 2014 that More Organic started. And so I was just doing it by the side, still waiting for my 5 years to be over to go and resume, you know, in Beyond Odeleye and Co. But something happened in 2015. I had just gotten married, I just given birth. I was coming from the market. So on entering into my street, I had the grocery materials in my hand. One of the young ladies in my neighborhood saw me, and I think they were just looking at her, who is this tiny auntie that just got married? And so she came to meet me, I knew she wanted to be close to me at that time. And so she was like, oh, auntie, let me help you. I mean, those days, even though it's just like 2013, 2014, 2015, we still have people like that kind of reach out to you that they want to help you. We still have that culture, of people just saying, oh, let me assist you. So that was exactly what happened at that time. And so she came into my house. On getting into my house, on my dining table, at that time we had just started rebranding.
Hey, thanks a lot for taking the time to watch the podcast. We are super thankful for you taking that time and investing the time to learn. We hope that you find the story inspiring, and beyond that, that you've been able to articulate one or two things that you want to do differently in your own entrepreneurial journey. May I encourage you to please like, subscribe, comment, and please share the word within your own circle of influence, especially within those that you think are on the same entrepreneurial journey with you. May I also encourage you to please, beyond subscribing to our YouTube channel, follow us on our other social media platforms. That means a lot to us, and we can see that that helps us to track that we're making some progress and so making some impact. Thanks a lot once again for taking the time to watch, and we'll see you on the next episode.